Hey, how's it going? Back at it again. So, according to Venkatesh Rao, volume is the most authentic signal of weirdness. So, we're going for volume here. Now, so in this screencast, I'm thinking I'll just do some data analysis on the NBA playoffs. So I think this morning, Kyrie Irving, one of the 3-star players in the Brooklyn Nets, were the favourites to win the championship this year, got injured. The other star, James Harden, got injured a few games ago. So essentially the favourite team, 2 of their 3 major stars are now injured. Seems pretty problematic. So for curiosity, I thought it'd be interesting to take a look at how that team fared when they only had the remaining star player on the team, Kevin Durant. So let's take a quick look at the playoffs, the bracket. So we're looking at Milwaukee, Brooklyn in the bottom right. The series is now tied 2-2, and we're curious what's going on with the Brooklyn Nets. I think that's the most interesting thing there. Oh, and the other one, I don't know if we're going to get time to get to it, but in the top left, there's Utah Jazz against the LA Clippers. So the LA Clippers are pretty fascinating as a team. They have 2-star players, Kawhi Leonard and Paul George. They came back from 2-0 down to win the series 4-3 against Dallas. So the 4th against the 5th seed. And NBA playoff series is best of 7. It looks like there's you have to win 4 playoff series to win the championship, Western Conference and Eastern Conference, if you don't have the background. But the Clippers are fascinating because the coach experiments a lot with their lineup. The NBA is really kind of fun to follow because it resembles chess in some ways. So the top tier talent is fairly concentrated. So you have a 15-man roster during the regular season of typically 82 games, and a team will maybe use 10 to 12 players in rotation, maybe less. But when it gets down to playoffs, the number of players in rotation drops down to 7, possibly 8, because players with weaknesses will get exploited. And because it's a best of 7 series, the chess moves or the tweaks and adjustments to counter when your player is getting exploited as a coach is a common occurrence. So that's what makes the playoff series quite interesting. So it's not a pure matter of who's got the better players. It's the configuration of and which players are you going to exploit. So the Clippers, coming back from a 2-0 deficit is quite fascinating. And they did it last year where they lost a series when they were 3-1 up to the Denver Nuggets, and it was a funny playoff series last year where they hosted all those matches in a bubble in Disney, Florida. But regardless, this team has a tendency to give up leads, or this year they do, and then last year they kind of seemingly choked, might be too strong a word, but they gave up a large lead to crumble. And pretty fascinating. So let's get to this Nets Bucks match that was quite interesting. So they lost 96-107, and let's get to this score. So they were winning this match until Kyrie Irving got injured. Would have been around here. Claxton turnover. Looking for a substitution by Irving. Here we go. 8 minutes 22 in the second quarter. Irving pull up shot. Jump shot missed. And I suspect that's where he was injured. Oh no, there's 7 minutes remaining. And he's got a bad pass. But we're just looking for this. Yeah, here we go. 5 minutes 52 remaining. They were 40-44. So they'd given up the lead, and then Irving's substitution replaced by Green, and they lost the game. So had he stayed healthy, there's a good chance they would have won this, or at least done much better. So I guess maybe part two, if I get to it, is looking at these play-by-play text data and being able to I had two ideas about it. So one was trying to gauge how well players were going during a match. So I guess number of shots made against attempts over the duration of a game, which is 48 minutes, 12 minutes per quarter. That's one thing. The other one was being able to figure out who was on court at given points in time. So getting at this idea of the basketball being a bit like chess, but that's going to be a fair bit of work. So I don't know if we'll get there. So maybe I should write some of these down. But to start, I was thinking let's just have a look at Brooklyn Nets and how the team went with the different combinations of their star players missing. So I know over the course of the season, each of these stars had missed time, so there should be some good variation in how the team fared. I really didn't follow the season that closely, but do listen to a bunch of podcasts. So number one, Brooklyn Nets performance varying by star players playing. 2, let's take a look at whether we can do anything with the play-by-play data and player performance over the duration of a game. 3, lineups. Get lineups from the play-by-play data. So let's just pause here. So here are the notes. 3 things we're going to try to get to. There's a bit of a follow-on from the previous coding session where I had these notebooks here. So I'll be using Python Jupyter notebooks for the play-by-play, and so let me make some notes on the data sources. basketballreference.com for team performance over regular season, playoffs, and here on the play-by-play, it's coming from a NBA API, Python NBA API, which pulls data from the official NBA website. Okay, so I think we have enough to go on, and let's get some music on.
Akira.
East Coast.
You're either on the offense or defense. You're either on the offense or defense. I think a lot of people think they're in the middle, in a transit. You're only on the offense or the defense. I've realized that I've been on the offense my whole life because I never felt entitled to anything. An incredible thing happens when you're born with very little. You know, I was born in the Soviet Union, we come to America, I live in a studio apartment in Queens. My parents bought me 6 toys in my entire life, kind of thing. We took 1 family vacation in my entire life. When I wanted Nintendo, my mom looked me dead in the face and said, good, go buy it. On the flip side, she reinforced things that came natural to me and made them the most important things. While I was getting D's and F's, and every other immigrant parent was making their kids get A's and B's because they thought that's what mattered, my mom was accelerating anytime that I showed compassion, anytime that I showed empathy, anytime that I showed gratitude. You're either on the offense or defense. You're either on the offense or defense. I think a lot of people think they're in the middle, in a transit. You're only on the offense or the defense. I once opened a door, and I will remember this for the rest of my life. I was 8. I opened a door for a woman. You would have thought that I won a Nobel Peace Prize. My mom made such a big deal about that. You have to understand what she did, and no matter how bad you have it, millions, billions have it worse. And so for me, the mindset that I've rolled in this whole game is nobody cares. Nobody cares. And not that they don't care, people have compassion, but they can't. Think about how much you can care, even for the people you love the most. It's just a human thing. And more importantly, we have it ridiculously good. You're either on the offense or defense. You're either on the offense or defense. I think a lot of people think they're in the middle, in a transit. You're only on the offense or the defense. This internet thing is the most important invention in the history of the human being. All the things that you worry about, of like the man stopping you or something stopping you, all these things that we envision that are the reasons why you haven't been successful, this internet thing is taking away. The internet is the middleman. It's true. You have to understand how ridiculous this thing is. The ability for you to create content, videos, and written words direct to the audience eliminates any excuse you come up with. I can literally spend the next month, one by one, systematically going through this big room, and no matter what excuse you come up with, the answer is going to be, and we have to eliminate complaining and dwelling. We have to. And that's what she did for me. She instilled the right positive things, and most of all, she eliminated fucking excuses. She eliminated entitlement. She eliminated fucking excuses. She eliminated entitlement. You're either on the offense or defense. You're either on the offense or defense. I think a lot of people think they're in the middle, in a transit. You're only on the offense or the defense. You're either on the offense or defense. You're either on the offense or defense. I think a lot of people think they're in the middle, in a transit. You're only on the offense or the defense.
Akira.
The Don.
It's for the heroes.
You have to be the hero of your own story. And you can do that. You have to be the hero of your own story. And you can do that.
90% of it is just showing up. Get there and start working. Like, you're not gonna feel perfect every day. Gotta be those days you push through. This is what I want you to do. Write down what you would like to fix about your life. If you're 30 pounds overweight, you wanna lose 30 pounds? Do it the right way. Write down what you eat. Exercise every day. Force yourself to do it. The brain is the general, the troops are the body, and you get up and you do it. And then you get to write it down.
You know, you're doing what you gotta do to get by, but ultimately you're not respecting yourself. I think we all have a certain amount of appreciation and respect for hero figures. We all look at the guy who never lies, always does the right thing, and fucking helps everybody out, and that's the John Wayne character, you know, that's the ultimate hero. The ultimate hero. You have to be the hero of your own story. And you can do that. You have to be the hero of your own story. And you can do that. And when you look at your own life and you don't stack up, you're a thief, you stole money from your wife's purse, and you don't want to smoke cigarettes, but you fucking have to. You can't deal with the stress you smoke. You devalue yourself. You slowly start devaluing yourself. You look at yourself and you realize that if you were judging yourself, you would judge yourself unfaithfully. You can't pretend you're the hero of your story. Hero of your story.
Most people get stuck in these patterns, find themselves as the person who doesn't follow through on their ideas. When I start things and I quit. No, you don't. No, you have started things and you quit, and it gives you a horrible sense of regret that's made you define yourself by that. You're not who you were a year ago. You're not who you were 5 years ago. You're not who you were last week. So you gotta regulate how much you dwell on regrets of the past. You really gotta be careful.
You have to be the hero of your own story. And you can do that. You have to be the hero of your own story. You can be the hero of your own story that woke up hero of your own story that at 40 years of age got out of bed and said, I'm not doing this anymore. I'm not doing this anymore. And I'm gonna get myself in shape and I'm gonna eat healthy. And I'm gonna do this because this is me now. This is me now. I decided this is me. And people have to realize that you are not your past. You are not all the times you fucked up. You're not all the times you were drunk. That's not you. That's not you. You are the person who's learned from a great deal of experience. This is a battle that you will fight for the rest of your life. But the key is to fight it, not to give in. Don't give in to that resistance. Fight that resistance. And in doing so, every day you do so, you have won the battle for that day. And you will continue to fight that battle. You have to be the hero of your own story. And you can do that. You have to be the hero of your own story. And you can do that. You have to be the hero of your own story. And you can do that. You have to be the hero of your own story. And you can do that. Providing you a healthy work environment. Why? Well, because they want people to work for them. They don't want people to realize their own dreams and escape. They want to set it up so that you stick around in some sort of an unsatisfying world. It's up to you to see that video game problem, to see that issue as it comes up on the map, and calculate your future. I don't know.
So I've got the data for Irving, Harden, and Durant from Basketball Reference. These are the each row is a game. In the first column, and second column G is whether they played or not. I'm interested in this var.8, which is whether they won or lost, what the score was, or score differential. Don't know, maybe I should be interested in an overall score. That's not in here. So I'll go get that one. And then minutes played is good. And do we care about field goals attempted? I think so. So maybe get these three. Points. Maybe stick with points. Points to start with. All right, let's keep going then.
Some of them maybe, but I think some of them just don't have discipline. There's also an issue with momentum. You're not used to doing it. It's not a part of your life. It's not something that you're accustomed to pushing yourself. There's been many days where I didn't want to work out. I just didn't feel like I had the energy, and I just forced myself. And I think there's very few people out there that know how to force themselves. That's a learned skill. You have to have like real rigid requirements of yourself where you don't allow yourself to back out of things.
Akira.
Do something.
Excuses are a giant part of the problem. It's not simply a physical health issue. There's also mental aspects of it, and discipline's a big one. I just know way too many people who are weak mentally. I can't just chalk it off to only the way they physically feel. Because I felt like shit 100 times, and then I worked out, and then I felt way better. It's just a fact of life. That's real. Do something. Do something. Do something. Do something. Do something. Do something. People don't know how to do that. And if you're used to doing it, get in your car, sit down, drive to the office, sit down, go to the lunch, sit down, go to the board meeting, sit down, get in your car, sit down, get home, sit down, then go to the gym, fuck off. It's one thing if someone has a legit physical issue, but there's a lot of people who do not. They just have poor diet choices, they have a sedentary lifestyle, and they have the momentum of this sedentary lifestyle that's holding them back. They're accustomed to being lazy. You don't have to do a lot, you just have to do something. You walk up hills, you jump a little rope, you take a little tiny kettlebell, you do a couple cleans and presses, you do a few push-ups, you do a few sit-ups, you get your blood pumping, you're moving, you're alive. To say you don't have enough energy to exercise, that is crazy to say. Can you walk to the fucking refrigerator? Yes. Well, you can exercise. Do something. 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 You don't have to do anything crazy. Just walk around the block. There's 80-year-old ladies who take yoga with me. They're fucking really old. And they're in there. They're going after it. They could easily say, I don't have the energy to do that. But they don't. It's a mental attitude. They make a decision. It's not to kill yourself. You don't have to go to a CrossFit class and try to do the workout of the day. You don't have to go nuts. You don't have to do that. But you have to do something. Just get your blood moving. Your body has requirements. It wants to move. It wants to move. And when it does, you feel better. But people like to give themselves this excuse. I do not have the energy to do this. Whatever. If you decide that, that's true. But if you watch a motivational video, there's 100 of them on YouTube. Thousands of you. You go watch one, you get fired up, you're like, fuck it, I'm gonna jump some rope. You jump some rope, do something, do some push-ups, do something. You feel better. Do something. 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 Pull that shit up, James. We have fucked up lifestyles. The human body is not designed to sit down all day. And it's certainly not designed to be stuck in traffic and be in an office and just be in front of a fucking computer monitor watching your soul get sucked through the LCD screen. It's crazy. We gotta be real careful with just the way we describe things. It's like to say, I don't have the energy to do something. Stop.
We're going to go back to Boston.
Okay.
Okay, so you said that's really where things started for you. So you moved there when you were 13. First of all, like, what kind of kid were you in school?
If ADD is real, I certainly had it. And I was very, very interested in what I was interested in. I was very uninterested in people telling me what to do. Essentially couldn't wait to get out of school. But I would excel at things that I had interest in. Initially it was art. I wanted to be a comic book illustrator until I really got into martial arts. And martial arts became the focus of my life. Around 14, 15 years old, that's when I really became massively obsessed. And that was really the first thing that I ever did where I really didn't feel like a loser. Like I really felt like, oh, I actually have some talent. I actually can be exceptional. There's like something, because I grew up constantly moving, didn't really have a lot of friends. I would be new in this town. I'd get picked on. I wasn't a big kid. And there was a lot of issues with that. psychologically. I didn't like being afraid of other kids. I didn't like not knowing what to do if I ran into kids. They were going to bully me and pick on me. You know, martial arts changed that 180 degrees. And then I became someone who I would be afraid of. You know, I became the opposite of what I was. And then I became someone who I would be afraid of. You know, I became the opposite of what I was. So what I was someone who was terrified of conflict, didn't know what to do. And what I became was a Taekwondo champion. I became a martial arts champion. I knew how to fight.
How did it come about?
It was very fortunate. I'd done a little bit of martial arts training. Then one day I was in Boston for a Red Sox game. And as I was walking home to the train station, I decided to go check out the Jae-Hun Kim Taekwondo Institute. It was right there. So I went up the stairs, and as I was walking up the stairs, a guy named John Lee was training. I heard this crazy sound. What it turned out to be this man kicking this bag and slamming his heel into this bag and having the chain snap and rattle and thud of his heel slamming into this leather bag. I got up there and I watched this guy work out. I couldn't believe a person could do that. I'd never seen anybody kick something so hard in real life. Anybody that had such incredible martial arts skill like this guy did, John Lee, who became a mentor of mine. That changed everything. I was there the next day. I talked to them. They gave me a brochure and a pamphlet. I was probably there every day of my life until I was 22 years old. Just completely by luck, wandered into one of the best schools in the world for Taekwondo. I just got lucky. I got really, really, really lucky. I became someone who I would be afraid of. You know, I became the opposite of what I was. And then I became someone who I would be afraid of. You know, I became the opposite of what I was. I had keys pretty quickly. Right away, my instructor recognized that I was pretty obsessed and I was physically pretty talented. So he had me teaching classes instead of paying. One of the best ways for someone to get good at martial arts is actually to teach. It actually refines your technique if you think about it more. I was 14 or 15 by the time I got to that school. I had my black belt by the time I was 17, and I was competing in the adult division by then. I won the state championship when I was 18, and I won it every year from then until I stopped. Luckily, with high school, kids heard about it right away. One of the kids you go to school with is flying all over the country, kicking people in the head. They just avoided me. People avoided me. Junior and senior year, I'd already become this weird kid that was obsessed with martial arts. I spent most of my life, from the time I was 15 till I was 21, training and competing. I probably fought over 100 times. 100% singular, uniquely singular, but I avoided most of the pitfalls, high school partying and all that stuff. I didn't do that because I was scared of getting hurt. I was scared if I showed up for training hungover that I'd get beat up. I was scared of anything that would take even a tiny bit away from my performance as a fighter because I was obsessed with it. I became someone who I would be afraid of. You know, I became the opposite of what I was. And then I became someone who I would be afraid of. You know, I became the opposite of what I was. I fought from the time I was 15, and I think I had my last fight. It was either I was 21 or 22. The last 3 fights were kickboxing fights, and I had those while I was doing stand-up comedy. I was spreading myself too thin. I was working a bunch of different jobs. I was working delivering newspapers. I was working as a private investigator's assistant. I did some construction. I did a bunch of different odd jobs to make a living. I had 3 kickboxing fights, and I was entertaining the idea of fighting professionally. But I was also starting to get really worried about brain damage. I did a lot of boxing sparring and a lot of what you would call gym wars, where guys we would beat the shit out of each other. And you'd get hurt, and you'd come home with headaches. You basically were fighting in the gym. The gyms that I came up in were real hard-nosed, really, tough gyms. If you weren't tough, you did not survive, and they weren't interested in anybody that couldn't take a shot or anybody that wasn't willing to go to war. So you would put on a mouthpiece, you put on a cuff, you put your shin pads on, and you beat the fuck out of each other. And that was a big part of learning how to fight. You would fight all the time, fight all the time. I would have fights several days a week. You would fight all the time, fight all the time. You would fight all the time. It would make some of the people laugh in training because we were always nervous. When we would go to tournaments, we were nervous because, I'd seen many of my friends get knocked unconscious at these tournaments, get kicked in the head, taken to hospitals. And, I'd seen it in the gym, too. A lot of guys getting beat up and knocked out. It was constant. It happened to me a couple of times. I'd been hurt. So we had this gallows humor. We would go to these events. The tension would be so thick. Everybody taking deep breaths and trying to relax and just stay loose before you fight. And I would be the class clown. It was a charged environment. So anything that I said that was actually funny would get a giant reaction. And that became addictive. You would fight all the time. Fight all the time. I would have fights several days a week. You would fight all the time. Fight all the time. You would fight all the time. You would fight all the time. Fight all the time. I would have fights several days a week. You would fight all the time. Fight all the time. You would fight all the time. My take on it was, you think I'm funny because you're my friend. But other people are going to think I'm an asshole. Like, the things that I think are funny are fucked up. I have a fucked up sense of humor. I mean, here I am devoting most of my time trying to get really good at knocking people unconscious, trying to separate people in their consciousness. So I was doing my best every day to get good at that. I was trying to hurt people. That's what I was trying to get good at. I was trying to get good at hurting human bodies. I was such a weirdo. No one would think that the things that I was making fun of were funny. But I knew from martial arts that if I worked really hard at something, I could get good at it. And I had this thought that maybe I could do that with comedy because I didn't want to fight anymore. I mean, for a person who's been through what I've done with my body works remarkably well. But the brain damage thing, I don't know. I really don't know. I really sit back and think about some of those wars that I was in. And my last fight, I got TKO'd. I got stopped. I got hit with a left hook and dropped. My legs went out from under me, and then I got up, and I got hit again, fell down again. They stopped the fight. So that was when I decided I'm going to stop. I know where this is going. I saw guys at the gym with punch drunk, slurring their words. They would forget things. And I had seen some people progress towards that. And it was very, very disturbing. I'd be lying in bed at night after a hard sparring session. My head would be pounding. I would think, what am I doing to my fucking brain? Like, what am I doing to myself? I got real lucky that I found stand-up comedy. You would fight all the time. I would have fights several days a week. You would fight all the time. Fight all the time. You would fight all the time. Basically, you're having fights all the time. You would fight all the time. I would have fights several days a week. You would fight all the time. Fight all the time. You would fight all the time. if the UFC was around back then, I most certainly would have started fighting. And, and to not be training intelligently, because I wasn't training intelligently, I was training like a meathead, and that was just all we knew back then. I probably would have sustained some pretty significant damage before I ever even got into the octagon. I probably would have already had massive brain damage before I ever had a fight.
It's this fear of discomfort. People have this extreme feeling in their mind when it comes to their associations with exercise. They want to avoid discomfort. They feel like any type of exercise is just like something to be avoided. That's not for me. Fuck that. I don't want to sweat. I don't want to strain. I don't want to sweat. I don't want to strain. A lot of times this association that they have is about the beginnings of getting in shape. It's not about once you're actually fit. Because once you're actually fit and you look forward to it, it feels great. If I can't get a workout in, I look at my schedule and go, oh shit, I don't have any time for a workout, which means I'm not going to get that good feeling, get that good feeling. And so instead of looking at it like, oh, I've got to go grunt and sweat, I'm thinking I'm not going to feel good, I'm not going to feel relaxed, I'm not going to feel carefree, even appreciative, like my appreciation of things. And it gets enhanced greatly after exercise. I just feel better. I want to sweat, I want to strain, I want to sweat, I want to strain, I want to sweat, I want to strain, I want to sweat, I want to strain. Get that good feeling, get that good feeling, get that good feeling. I want to sweat, I want to strain, 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 I want to sweat, I want to strain. Get that good feeling, get that good feeling, get that good feeling. It feels great. Most people, their associations are to avoid anything that's uncomfortable. It's so illogical. Discomfort is your friend. It really is. Discomfort, not being happy and content with certain situations in life, they're massive, massive motivators. They're amazing at facilitating change. Yet our instinct is to avoid those and just sit on the couch and watch some fucking reality show. It's bizarre. When I get really disciplined and really consistent with my workouts, I almost feel momentum. I feel like there's push behind me, like, all right, yeah, now I'm doing sweat, I want to strain, I want to sweat, I want to strain, I want to sweat, I want to strain, I want to sweat, I want to strain. Get that good feeling, get that good feeling, get that good feeling. I want to sweat, I want to strain, 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 I want to sweat, I want to strain. Get that good feeling, get that good feeling, get that good feeling. Yeah, now I'm doing it. Yeah, now I'm doing it. I'm doing it all the time now. I'm looking forward to the next time, and it makes that resistance much weaker, and it makes my motivation and my discipline much stronger. I think a lot of it is based on just the consistency. Blowing something off is not just bad for you physically, it's also bad mentally, because then that option is now available. The option to fuck off. You did it before, and you're probably going to do it again, and you'll get mediocre results, not just in that aspect of your life, maybe in all aspects of your life. That option to fuck off, when you embrace it, that is a pathway that you might choose when it comes to dealing with conflict in your personal life, business decisions, career decisions, like an uncomfortable decision that you might be faced with, what your pathway is in life, but you don't do it, instead you fuck off. And that inclination to fuck off, that gathers momentum as well. The inclination to be disciplined, that comes with momentum. I think both things. You take a path. I want to sweat, I want to strain, I want to sweat, I want to strain, I want to sweat, I want to strain, I want to sweat, I want to strain. Get that good feeling, get that good feeling, get that good feeling. I want to sweat, I want to strain, 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 I want to sweat, I want to strain. Get that good feeling, get that good feeling, get that good feeling. It feels great. Of the fuck off, your body is like a race car that you can juice up yourself. Like, you can add the fat tires, you can add improved suspension, you can beef up the horsepower of the engine. You can do all that yourself. Or you could just choose to have this shitty body. No one's under the illusion that you're gonna live forever, but you are enhancing the experience that you're currently involved in right now. our life where it's not been so great. And then times in our life, everything came together like, what a fucking great day. Woo! Great day. Woo! Great day. Woo! Great day. Woo! Make more of those. Make more of those. Make more of those. You can make more of those. And then the whole thing's better. And then the whole thing's better. And I think when that whole thing is better, it affects everybody you touch, everybody that's around you, everybody you come in contact with. That in turn, I mean, it sounds so grandiose, but in turn can affect the entire race of human beings. The big one is the stoned ape theory. Terence McKenna's theory was the reason why the human brain size doubled over a period of 2 million years, and he equates it to the time where the climate changed and rainforests receded into grasslands, and these monkeys climbed down from trees, started experimenting with new food sources. And they would flip over cow patties to find like bugs and beetles and shit. When they saw mushrooms growing on the cow patties, certain groups of these monkeys started eating these mushrooms. Two things happened. One, it increased their visual acuity and made them be able to see much better. And then the other thing that happened is it made them horny. So here you have these better hunters. They can see things better. They can throw things and they're more accurate. And then they're horny, so they're gonna fuck. And then, of course, if they're eating plates of these fucking things, they're gonna have psychedelic experiences. And if you're a monkey, maybe, and if you have psychedelic experiences every day, it's like a force-fed evolution thing. It's like a force-fed evolution thing. Psychedelic experiences every day, every day, every day. Psychedelic experiences every day, every day, every day. Psychedelic experiences every day, every day, every day. Monkeys in space. Monkeys in space. If we figure out eventually we are all one thing, these spores are all like, they can go in a vacuum in space. They can travel in extreme cold and extreme heat. They can absorb radiation and not get damaged. And they can travel from other planets. Like if a meteor hits, a chunk of this planet can get knocked off, gets sent flying into space, and it lands on another planet. And those spores get to give birth on this planet and just communicate with all the animals that are here. When you have a DMT trip, it feels like communication with intent, but with no words. I understand exactly what you're saying, but I understand it more of...
Okay, so that was a bit more involved than I'd thought. A little bit rusty with R and dates, but we now have the game's data in the right format. The next step will be to combine the player data. That's it here, Irving, Harden, and Durant. And then I think I'll try and plot the game's outcomes by the different combinations of whether they played. So that should be it. Don't know if we're going to get to that play-by-play stuff.
They always say a bunch of the same thing. Relax and don't give in. I think a lot of what happiness is a management issue. You could be in a shit state of mind right now, but you can make some decisions to adjust that, and over the next couple hours, you'll get to a much better place. And these constant management decisions, they waver in and out of your life on a daily basis. Like this idea that you could have a good mindset and then all of a sudden you'll be happy. But that's horseshit. It's like the tide. It comes in and it comes out. There's gonna be days where you're just not feeling so good physically. That's going to affect the way your happiness level is. It's never static. It's never exactly the same. Me? I'm happy. Happy as fuck is what I would say. goes in and out. It's always there. This is something I've cultivated for a long time and avoided things that make me unhappy and figured out what those things are and been very rigid about eliminating them from my life. There's a lot of cynicism in these days about inspiration and motivation because there's a lot of fake shit. See a million of these inspirational quote pages run by people that are probably depressed. You know, you see a lot of people that are talking about how to get ahead in life, but they're not really doing anything themselves. So there's a lot of cynicism involved in that. But there's also sincerity in it. If you just look at it with a pure heart and a pure mind, you can get a lot of energy out of that. And when you're around happy, inspirational people that are successful, it makes you feel better. And you get inspired. And if you act on that inspiration, your life will be more fulfilled. And it's not just inspirational in terms of financial success, but in terms of doing difficult things. I'm happy. Happy as fuck, is what I would say. I'm happy. Happy as fuck, is what I would say. And I think that there's a lot of people out there that think somehow or another you're going to get to some place where you're living in silk sheets and you're getting your toes done. Someone's dropping grapes into your mouth. I don't want that. That guy's not going to be happy. He's going to be bored. An hour into the grape. Get those fucking grapes away from me. Stop painting my toes. What am I doing in this bed? I got to do something. The human organism, the animal that we are, needs constant stimulation because it evolved trying to find food and escape enemies. And this is the great joy that you have in taking care of your children. You can protect your children from the elements and the enemies. And it's also the great sadness that you see in losers. When I see a loser, I see some guy who's 43 years old, lives in his parents' basement, and he fucking hates the world. I'm like, that was a baby that somebody just gave shitty nutrients to, food or in thoughts and ideas and examples. And this kid developed these horrible, self-defeating patterns of behavior that have led them to this point where they're this person with no future and no idea of how to get out of this rut and probably never will escape it. And might just wind up sucking on a gun. I'm happy. Happy as fuck, is what I would say. I'm happy. Happy as fuck, is what I would say. This is the world that we live in today, and I think part of that world is because we have been fed this line of horseshit that you're supposed to seek comfort. And I don't think you are. I think you're supposed to seek lessons, and you're supposed to seek difficult tasks. Because if I just think, well, tomorrow I'm just gonna coast and eat Twinkies and watch TV. Oh, hello, sadness, my old friend. Hello, depression. Because when you're not doing anything, you feel like shit. And that's just a part of being a human being. And we can pretend that we're something other than what we really are. And we can pretend, nah, me, man, I'm just cool, just chilling, doing nothing. Bullshit. You're a fucking human. You evolved from the fucking hundreds of thousands of years of hunters and gatherers and people that were struggling. Human reward systems are carved deeply into your DNA. And if you don't respect that, if you don't respect the mechanism of happiness and fulfillment and what you really need to do in order to feel satisfied in life, camaraderie, family, struggle, learning are imperative. They're all a giant part of being a person. I'm happy. Happy as fuck, is what I would say. I'm happy. Happy as fuck, is what I would say. I'm pretty fucking happy. Fucking happy. I'm pretty fucking happy.
He's got clout.
Everybody's different. Everybody's similar, but everybody's different. And your attitude has a giant effect, not just on your life, but on other people's lives around you. That's the other thing about it. Those I can't catch a break guys, get them the fuck away from me. I can't be around those guys. I don't want to hear that shit. I don't want to hear that shit. Get them the fuck away from me. Get them the fuck away from me. Get them the fuck away from me. I don't want to hear that shit. Get them the fuck away from me. Get them the fuck away from me. Get the fuck away from me. I don't want to hear that shit. I don't buy it. Because everybody has bad breaks. I've had a shit ton of bad breaks. But you know what I did? Stayed up. And I thought through it. And I figured out what the fuck I did wrong. And then I went back. It's like, I fucked up everything I've ever done 100 times. There's no other way to do it.
But you gotta realize when you have those shitty breaks what that is.
It's an opportunity for you to reassess, reboot, get better, figure out another way, find another way through. It's just challenges. And the people that look at those challenges and go, why do I always have these challenges? They're cancer. Those people are dangerous to be around. They will rob you of your enthusiasm. They don't give you any fuel. They're the opposite of fuel. The fuel people kicking ass. People that are out there just fucking hustling. Always getting things done. Always getting things done. My friend Jocko, every morning I'll check his Instagram page, 4:30, shows a picture of his watch. Get after it. Get after it. He's out there working out 4:30 in the morning. He does it every fucking morning. Why? Because he doesn't want to. And that's how you do it. You go and get after it. You don't make any excuses. And those kind of guys are fuel. But those I can't catch a break guys, they're the opposite of fuel. They're just pissing on your fire. They're no fun. Get them the fuck away from me. I can't be around those guys. I don't want to hear that shit. I don't want to hear that shit. Get them the fuck away from me. Get them the fuck away from me. Get them the fuck away from me. I don't want to hear that shit. Get them the fuck away from me. Get them the fuck away from me. Get the fuck away from me. I don't want to hear that shit. 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 Get them the fuck away from me. The people that surround them are all idiots. Because only idiots want to be around I can't catch a break guy. Only the dummies stick around. After a while, even if they're your good friend, you gotta be like, bro, you gotta fucking stop. You gotta stop with all this I can't catch a break bullshit. All the time you're complaining, you could be instead hustling. You could be instead chasing your dream. You could be instead figuring out what you're doing wrong, trying to improve certain aspects of your life, getting your shit together, reading a book, meditating, something. Fucking something. Something. Fucking something. But this I can't catch a break shit is not helping anybody. And it pushes everybody away from you. Get them the fuck away from me. I can't be around those guys. I don't want to hear that shit. I don't want to hear that shit. Get them the fuck away from me. Get them the fuck away from me. Get them the fuck away from me. I don't want to hear that shit. Get them the fuck away from me. Get them the fuck away from me. Get the fuck away from me. I don't want to hear that shit. 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 Get them the fuck away from me. Everybody's got these stupid
barriers they put in their own head. You gotta resist those goddamn things, because they don't do you any good, and they certainly define the potential for your future in a negative way. It's not self-serving, and it's not even real. But this idea that there's no way to get past the starting block today is just ludicrous. It's crazy. And it's just this poor thinking. And people that are trapped in bad situations, one of the problems is you feel like this is your future. You feel like you're fucked. You can't get out of that. There's no hope. There's no light at the end of the tunnel. There's no rainbow. And if you feel like that, that alone can be incredibly defining and limiting. But if you look at yourself objectively and say, I kind of am fucked here. I'm in credit card debt, I'm working in a shitty job, I don't like what I'm doing, but I have some ideas. I need to feed those fucking ideas. I need to feed them and water them. I need to set aside a certain amount of time every day to just try to make those things happen every day. To just try to make those things happen every day. To just try to make those things happen every day. You can do that. Do shit that's difficult every day, every day. Do shit that's difficult every day. You can do that. Do shit that's difficult every day, every day. Do shit that's difficult. It's very important to struggle. If you look at someone who's doing really well, like very famous and successful, all you see is him now, flying around private jets, wearing a new pair of sneakers every day, driving around in Bentleys. You just see that. You don't see him being a young kid in Philadelphia going to open mic nights. There's a progression that you're not witness to. You don't see it. And that takes place in everything. It takes place in office, in comedians and musicians. There is a starting point, and with time and focus, and as long as you reevaluate and reassess and constantly, objectively look at what you're doing, and then pursue it with passion and focus, you get better at things. There's always going to be people that are luckier than you. Some of it is luck, and some of it is courage. Some of it is putting your ass out there. Some of it is trying things. One of the things that I always like to tell people that I think you should do is do shit that's difficult. It's very important to struggle. Do shit that's difficult every day, every day. Do shit that's difficult every day. You can do that. Do shit that's difficult every day, every day. Do shit that's difficult. It's very important to struggle. Teaches you things that you don't learn from success. I think failure gives you an opportunity for self-examination and also gives you a feeling that is very uncomfortable. And that very uncomfortable feeling helps you grow. And don't look at these failures as proof that you suck. Look at them as opportunities for growth. And don't look at these failures as proof that you suck. Look at them as opportunities to be motivated to do better. Do shit that's difficult every day, every day. Do shit that's difficult every day. You can do that. Do shit that's difficult every day, every day. Do shit that's difficult. It's very important to struggle. Do shit that's difficult every day, every day. Do shit that's difficult every day. You can do that. Do shit that's difficult every day, every day. Do shit that's difficult. It's very important to struggle. The one thing that discipline definitely does help you with, it helps you get things done. And when you get things done, when you actually do things, you have more success. A big part of success is just not being fucking lazy and just doing it. 90% of it is just showing up. Get there and start working. Like, you're not gonna feel perfect every day. If I only worked out when I felt good, I'd be a fat fuck. Because there's a lot of days I don't want to do it. I mean, it's pretty much the same with everybody that actually gets good at something. There's got to be those days you push through. They're probably going to be more numerous than the days you don't. And so the benefit of discipline in my eyes has always been that through discipline, I get things done. I'm like the most lazy, disciplined person I know because I don't want to do it.
Akira.
Let's go.
He's got clout.
Through discipline, I get things done. The pro goes to work. Through discipline, I get things done. This is what I do.
I also think that discipline is a pathway to creativity. When you're on the battlefield, is an absolute exercise in creativity. How are we going to attack them? How are we going to disorganize them? How are we going to get in their heads? That's all just massive creativity. And when I look at people that are artists, I would imagine the more disciplined you are, you got to write stuff down. You got to read. You got to increase your vocabulary so that you are quicker and sharper, so that when people are saying things, you have more words to battle back at them. All those things, all that freedom that you get on stage comes from the discipline. You study, you learn, you read, you write, you talk, you go through things. Is that an accurate statement?
Absolutely accurate. Through discipline, I get things done. The pro goes to work. Through discipline, I get things done. This is what I do. Through discipline, I get things done. The pro goes to work. Through discipline, I get things done. This is what I do. And it doesn't matter if you're sick, doesn't matter if you have kids, you're a pro and you go to work. And you have pride in that. And then when you are in front of that keyboard, you look down at the count, it says, I fucked 1,000 words today. Out of that work, gems blossom. But you might have a day where you just write nothing but dog shit. So what? Show up again tomorrow. And tomorrow out of that dog shit, a flower will emerge. Through discipline, I get things done. The pro goes to work. Through discipline, I get things done. This is what I do. Through discipline, I get things done. The pro goes to work. Through discipline, I get things done. This is what I do. I didn't want to work with actors anymore. So I was happy that Fear Factor was no actors. Since I had a background in coaching, I was used to teaching people and I was used to encouraging people and getting people motivated. When someone was nervous and they're about to do something, I could grab them and go, look at me. You could do this. Look at me. You could do this. Look at me. You could do this. This is going to define you. If you back off, get scared, you give in to your fears, this is going to define you. Look at me. You could do this. Look at me. You could do this. If you just press forward, realize you can do this and succeed, it will define you in a positive way. You can do this. It was completely unexpected. Because I thought the gig was just going to be these people do these crazy things. I make fun of it, you know, we all cheer and it would all play itself out because it was a reality show. But somewhere along the line, especially when they became really nervous, it was very intense. There was moments where I wanted these people to win. You know, I wanted these people to do their best. I wanted these people to succeed.
There was one time, there was this father and the son competing against a mother and the daughter. And the father and the son were kind of jerks, and they thought that they were going to win. The parent and child teams had gotten down to 2, and it was the man and his son versus the woman and her daughter. And everybody thought these jerks were going to win, and we were kind of bummed out about it. But the woman and her child, they just rose to the occasion. I mean, I remember talking to them and firing them up. I didn't know if they could do it. I didn't know if they could do it. Look at me. You can do this. Look at me. You can do this. This is going to define you. If you back off, get scared, and give in to your fear, this is going to define you. Look at me. You can do this. Look at me. You can do this. If you just press and realize you can do this and succeed, it will define you in a positive way. You can do this. It was some crazy thing that they had to climb and do this thing. They had to gather flags. It was all the time. The kind of jerky son, the jerky dad, they kept screwing up. They fucked up because they'd kind of taken it for granted that they were going to win. A lot of times jerks are just insecure. And when they're under pressure, when they're really faced with real pressure, like this is the real moment. Who are you really? Who are you really? Fuck all that talk. Who are you really? They fall apart. The mother and the daughter won. You're talking about a hardened crew of people that have watched people eat animal dicks, jump out of helicopters, season after season, episode after episode. Everybody cried. The camera people, like I'll cry now if I'm thinking about it. Just seeing their spirit when they were figuring out a way to win, watching them win. Like to this day. Look at me. You can do this. Look at me. You can do this. This is going to define you. If you back off, get scared, and give in to your fear, this is going to define you. Look at me. You can do this. Look at me. You can do this. If you just press and realize you can do this and succeed, it will define you in a positive way. You can do this. I tear up for sad things. I tear up for happy things. It's never been sad things. It's very hard to get me to cry with sad things. Triumph, success, people pulling through. When someone has a particularly incredible performance, I have to fight off tearing up. I feel so happy for them. With sad things, I can objectively analyze them, and I cannot get sad. I can understand that this is just life, and it is what it is. I mean, I won't feel good, but I won't start weeping. I don't weep for sad things the way I weep for happy. I can rationalize and understand sorrow. I can internalize it. I get it. I just get so happy for people sometimes when things go well. As a human being, you realize how hard it is to overcome competition or these difficult moments or these moments when you're tested. And you know there's fears and insecurities that these people have to battle, as well as the actual physical task in front of them. There's so much going on. Look at me. You can do this. Look at me. You can do this. This is going to define you. If you back off, get scared, and give in to your fears, this is going to define you. Look at me. You can do this. Look at me. You can do this. If you just press and realize you can do this and succeed, it will define you in a positive way. You can do this. You can do this.
Okay, so I think this might do it. Of course, there's more polishing that could be done. Here's the plot of the margin or the difference in scores by number of stars per game. So looks like there were 4 games. Not much of a positive or negative pattern there. Here, when there's 1 star, bias is slightly positive upwards. 2 stars, hovering around this 10-point line perhaps, and then the unusual one is when they have 3 stars. They started off with a bit of a bang, but fizzled out in January, but not noticeably better than having 2 stars in a match. And in table format, number of stars, the mean difference or margin was 7 points. That's won by 7 points when there were 2 stars together, and that occurred in 35 matches. In 18 matches or games, there was 1 star, and they won by an average of 2.4 points. When there were 3 stars, they only won by an average of 2.9 points. That occurred in 15 games. Here, when you're looking at the actual star combination, Durant by himself in 3 games, there was an average difference of almost 20 points. Of course, we don't know who the opponents were in these games, so that could be affecting the results. Harden by himself was negative in 6 games. Irving by himself in 9 games, average difference of 0.2 of a point, so not much happening there. Durant and Irving, or Irving and Harden, were pretty good. Durant and Harden wasn't so great in 5 games. So this is what it looks like, and I think I'm gonna wrap it up there. Thanks. See you in the next one.